Guys, welcome or welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nisse and today we're gonna continue here in Future Life Project. And if you're new here, Future Life Project in Asia is a project to bring animals home where they belong. It's not a zoo, even though I know I accidentally call it zoo from time to time, but it is more a project about bringing animals home where they belong. Therefore, bringing animals home to Asia in this case makes us only able to get Asian animals, and we need to go first with the animals that need it the most. Today we're gonna take a look at the Mediterranean monk seal, and yeah, strap in, enjoy, and maybe get a little snack or something to drink while I'm making this speed build for you. Before we get too much into that, I would like to just tell you about my live streams, which I do in Railway Zoo. Railway Zoo is a zoo where we can only see the animals when you are on the train. We will build things around, like I made a train station and a restaurant the first episode. And the second episode, which went live here Monday, was a Aardvark and Meerkat night house, which was challenged to fit a train into, but I think I managed very well, if I may say so myself. We don't really have a weekly day for that. I tried to change around to do it at different times so everyone will have a chance to join in. But everyone are invited and anyone can go in and join, and I don't decide what I actually do over there. It is you who decides that. And even if you don't see it live, you can put things on the wish list by watching one of my previously. It will always need to be the latest, so I don't need to check comments from weeks ago. So always the latest live that I did, they will all be up so you can see it. But if you go to the live that's newest, which at this point would be the Aardvark and Meerkat, if you jump in there and you just comment something you think, it can be a restaurant, it can be a shopping mall, it can be an animal, you decide. It's totally up to you. And I put the things on the wish list, and if something have a lot of likes and comments, I bump it up so it will be earlier than things that doesn't have that. So this Sunday it will be African buffalo with mud holes and crossing rivers. Is the wish at this point, but you can also add to that. So if you go in on the same video and add maybe sub comment on that comment, and then I will see it, so I maybe can keep making more than one wish for a speed build. But it will be Sunday, so if you want to check in there, you are very welcome. But it will also be up afterwards, so if you can't join in live, then you can see it later if you want to. No pressure here. But today we're gonna focus on the Mediterranean monk seal, and as you know, we actually already have a few seals in here, which would be the hopper seal and the ring seal, and they are both very fascinating. Videos is up on the Future Life Asia playlist, so you can see that if you haven't. And they are right next into here. You can also see in that video how I made this house for them with the one-way glass, so the guest doesn't disturb them. So they have this kind of cage in between these seals and the other seals, so you can kind of isolate some if you need to. But I needed to make it to very different habitats, and I really want to afflict that in the build here, because the Mediterranean monk seal lives much more climates, so they didn't really fit in with the icy area of the ring seal. I know the harbor seal could be somewhere in between, but I like to make multiple animals in the same habitat. I did actually choose to make the Komodo dragon with between these two habitats, which I actually think reflects on this habitat where sometimes when you make many similar habitat at once, then you kind of get in the same drill and make them very the same. You can see that with the others and the other seals. So in between here, I took a palette cleanser and made the Komodo dragon, and it freed up some space in my brain to make it a little bit different over here. So we kind of gonna work with rooms down here in the water. So we have the staircase down that we also have in a lot of the others, and then we have the sandy beach at the top, and then back here we're gonna actually make kind of a cave-ish room back here, which gives the seals much more space to dive, of course, but it also gives them more directions to choose to dive, which actually give a cool effect when multiple seals are diving at the same time. Now we need to remember that we only have the gray seal from the game, so the Mediterranean monk seal here is a mod created by Narwhaler, along with a lot of other mods I also do. So if you want to see more about the mods, I got a video on it down in the description, and I also have a link to where you can download it if you want it for yourself, because it's a very cool mod. One difference that are actually very big between the Mediterranean monk seal and the other seals we have in here, where the other seals are kind of just there to play around, look cute, and make our benefactors want to support us more. But the Mediterranean monk seal here, on the other hand, have quite a bit more issues out there, so we also need to carefully breed these so we can release them into the wild at some point, because at this point we only have 600 to 700 left in the wild, which of course leaves them as endangered animals, and they need some help and some support. It is in fact believed to be the rarest pinniped at this point. Again, pinnipeds are a group of mammals that swim and have 4 fins. Also, so it is the walruses, it's the eared seals, and it's the earless seals, and the Mediterranean monk seal is an earless seal. I guess some of you might be confused why, when I make these walls between water habitats down here, why I leave glass open. It's mainly to give the illusion that the animals would be able to swim in between. The game doesn't allow us to actually see out of a water habitat with glass walls. You can see that on the other side here where it just appears blue, but it's still bringing in a lot of light, so I still think it looks very cool. So that's why I do that. The Mediterranean monk seal is one of the seals where you can clearly see a difference between the males and female, because the males are usually black and bigger than the females, as all seals of course are, but they are black, and then they have this very pale belly, which are whitish or almost white, where the females have a brown to dark gray color, and also a lighter belly, but not as light as the males. So therefore for the males you have this clear contrast between the black and the white or whitish color, where the females are more just a lighter color on the belly, so it's more blurred, if you can say it like that. They have a very broad and flat and very pronounced snout, and the nostrils are actually facing upwards, which can really tell them apart from the Hawaiian monk seal, which are one of their closest relative, which have their nostrils facing more forwards. The flippers for the Mediterranean monk seals are relatively short compared to other seals, and they have kind of more slender claws. Now, it is the Mediterranean monk seal, and therefore of course it lives in the Mediterranean, but it does actually also, because it lives in the Mediterranean, hit 3 different world continents, which is of course Europe, Asia, and Africa. More specifically, they live in Croatia, Cyprus, Greece, Mauritania, I think, Portugal, Turkey, Western Sahara, Albania, Egypt, France, Israel, Italy, Lebanon, Libya, Spain, Syria, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and Gambia. And again, anything I pronounce wrong, I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's just me not being able to speak. They do of course live in these marine areas, so this could be coastal or neretic zones. It can also be both a normal beach but also a very rocky area. Keeping in mind these rocky areas will most likely be more in peace and quiet away from the humans, since a lot of beaches in these areas get a lot of tourism, of course, so they don't really like that. They do both live in the tropical and temperate climate zones. I was actually forced to do something a bit different with the foliage, since the Mediterranean monk seal don't really like the same kind of foliage as the other. I would actually prefer if Planet Zoo would do something about that, so you have normal foliage and then you could have aquatic foliage on its own, because there's a difference between the amount of foliage they like to have around on the land and in their way, and the amount of foliage you could have in water. And for instance, animals that don't swim, it would make totally sense that they don't care about how much foliage you put in the water. The Mediterranean monk seal is mostly a solitary creature, and they do not really like to travel that far. However, they do hunt both in these more shallow coastal waters, though down to a depth of 250 meters, no deeper than that. And they like open areas, so they can use their speed without hitting anything. They are actually also sufficient bottom feeders, and they have been seen to lift up rocks and other things to see if anything delicious is hiding underneath. However, even though they don't like to travel, the adults will do it over time when food runs scarce in areas, and they kind of have to. But the younger ones will mostly stay put unless they need to move with their mama. I know it looks at this point that we're almost done, but keep watching, because I forgot all of the corals and I just kept sitting with the feeling that I forgot something, but it was the corals. So we will get back down there when I'm done with all of this and actually finishing off the path, so the guests can actually, after this episode, walk all the way around here, which changed a lot, because in the other few habitats I made, the sea otter and the other seals here, guests don't really like to go over there because it's a dead end, so now they can go around, so they will do that more. The Mediterranean monk seal is mostly polyamorous, but it's kind of one of those unfair deals, because the males are very territorial, so they won't share. So the males will have a territory where there can be multiple of females, and therefore, without really making a official harem, if you can say it that way, he just keeps other males away from the area, and that way he can mate with all of them females he wants to. They do mate all around the year, but birth happens mostly in September, October, and November, putting the most pairings in October, November, and December, since they are pregnant for 11 months. The mom will only give birth to a single pup that's only about a meter long at this point. I know a meter is a lot, it's 3.3 feet according to this website. But keep in mind that the adult is 2 meters and 40 centimeters, which is roughly 2.5 that size. They weigh around at birth again 15 to 18 kilograms, which would be around 33 to 40 pounds. So that's not really that much. I know it's more than a baby, of course, much more than a baby, but compared to their adults counterparts, which weigh around 240 to 400 kilo, again double that, then you have it in pounds. It's really not that much. At birth, the pups are covered with 1 to 1.5 centimeter long dark brown or black hair, around half an inch, and they don't really go in the water before they are 2 weeks old. They will be weaned around 18 weeks, and the females do mature faster than males, so the females will mature at the age of 4, where the males will wait 2 years until they turn 6. The story of the Mediterranean monk seal is far from fair, since from the fisherman's viewpoint, the monk seal does damage both to the population of the fish, the boats, the nets, and everything in between. Though from the viewpoint of the Mediterranean monk seal, the fishermen was invading their home, killing their prey, catching them in these nets, and didn't really care about how many monk seals they would kill in the process. Furthermore, they was also hunted for their skin, which of course, if you have seen documentaries from a lot of places in the world, actually people use seal skin for various both clothes and shoes, and it was the way to do it back then. But since then we have found better ways to protect our animals and get good nice shoes. Nowadays they do actually still fight with the fishermen, since there are a lot of overfishing in the areas where they live, and they need the fish to survive. I know they can also eat squids and shellfish and everything in between there, but they do still need the fish to survive. Furthermore, they get also still cut in the fishermen's nets, though nowadays they shouldn't just kill them. They shouldn't that back then either, but they did. They also deal with very modern issue, which is of course pollution, climate change, and human disturbances, since we are getting more and more humans and we are living more and more different places nowadays, so we do disturb the animals a lot, sadly. The seals doesn't really gather in groups on the beach as they used to do, and now they live more around caves where they can live in peace. It seems like over the last 100 years, the Mediterranean monk seals have become more and more shy, mostly likely to all of the human populations around there is mostly tourism. Again, if you live in an area with a lot of beautiful creatures, then you don't really take too much attention to them. But if you are on a vacation, and especially when you are with children or something like that, there will occur yelling and pointing and parading these animals, which their shy nature just doesn't prefer. So they do what they can to stay away from humans at any cost. And that would seem like a good thing, but the thing is that with the great storms that occur in this area, a lot of the young pups get hurt when the storm pushes all of the water in there, and the pups aren't ready to swim around in stormy water at this point. Some of them maybe haven't even touched the water yet, and stormy weather can forcefully hit water and everything with it up in a cave, fill it up, throw it out and across the sea, and kill a lot of pups in the process. So we have a lot of different ways we actually can lose these beautiful creatures, even though they are so majestic and beautiful sea creatures. As we talked about in the beginning, this Mediterranean monk seal is the most vulnerable of all of the seals and pinnipeds, overall, and there are only 600 to 700 left in the wild. It doesn't actually seem like local government or anything like that are doing anything to help at this point. And I did actually search around for different places that I know help animals around the world, but none of them very focused on this. But I did found a website called euronature.org. I will link it below, where you can go and donate and read about other ways to help the Mediterranean monk seal, and you could read more about it. So along with the information I got from Amelia.bio, I will leave this link, and I won't tell you that you have to go and support this. I just want to tell you, if you've heard this story and you want to do something, then the option is there for you. I just wouldn't like to tell you this story without giving you a option to actually try to do something. So no pressure, no one expects you to do anything at all, but I just like to give you the option. I would actually like to end today on a little more positive note, so I will tell you that one predator that they actually don't have is the sharks, because they swim so well they can actually outmaneuver a fully aquatic animal like the shark without any issues. So they don't actually have any natural predators, which I thought at least was something to end this on today. Okay guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. It was very fun to make, and this is kind of why I chose to make that palette cleanser with the Komodo dragon habitat here in between, because sometimes when you go away from something and then come back, then you come in with new inspiration, and I think I certainly did that here. So I really hope you liked it, and you know the drill, like, subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!